Hey guys, it is May 13th, 2026 here with your after hours recap. We'll try to keep it a little short and sweet. I did one already, did not realize that the video was not picking up my mic. We'll try to be a little bit faster. You had a few things that I did buy. I tried to get buy HUT taking out a prior day high. Just didn't close well enough for me to want to keep. I will keep an eye on it going into tomorrow. I did buy back some Cipher. This one was really nice, taking out a prior day high. AAOI, got to give this one some credit. The optic stocks are waking right back up, and this one does feel like it can make a hell of a move. Probably going to continue higher from here. The mags were absolutely unbelievable. Google, got to give this thing some credit. It wasn't just Google, it was Apple, and it wasn't just Apple, it was NVIDIA. I mean, could you really be too negative when Google, Apple, and NVIDIA are leading this market? I find it incredibly difficult to be any kind of negative, even if you think the market needs some sideways, needs some consolidation. I mean, just way, way, way too powerful for me to be negative on this market when those things are the ones that are leading. Optics did a really nice job waking up, like I said. AOI, COHR, GLW, CIEN, I mean, just fine. Bitcoin I find a little bit interesting, a bit of a laggard today, but rejecting a falling 200 simple moving average, so not entirely surprised. I'm going to give cybersecurity its flowers. It turns out you cannot vibe code cybersecurity stocks. Really nice job after it got above its 200 simple moving average into a new all-time closing high. PANW as well, and FTNT as well. Continuing nicely. TAN, nice push. Although that action in NXT today, a little bit odd, but it gaps up on earnings and it just fades off today, but it is a new all-time closing high for even an NXT. I'm going to give Chinese equities their credit. JD acting pretty damn well back above the 200. Baba, really, really nice push today on earnings. And Baidu, I think is, one of the best acting in the Chinese space. Really nice to see. I mean, so much so even Neo is acting well. Lee's trying to get back above the 200. So there is some, things that are shaping up and that are acting well. The semiconductor space, by a long margin, still continues to be your best acting group, whether you're looking at ADI, as I said, AMBQ. I re-added more to my ARM position today. AEHR looks ready for higher. TSEM up on earnings. ALAB trying to push some more, on semi getting, a bit more stretched here. And look, semiconductors, are they a bit extended? Sure. If you bought these things earlier, should you still be in them trimming and trailing? Absolutely. Market continues to be on absolute fire. I mean, there's just nothing to complain about. KWeb was one of the better groups today. Shout out to the Chinese equities trying to come around, right? It looks like all of our biggest CEOs head off to China, and China's having itself a hell of a day today. TAN, like I said, second place. And then, you've got these others on the flip side of the spectrum. NLR, right? It's just like nice base, but why the hell isn't it moving? CCJ, similar story, like nice base, but why isn't this thing really getting moving? And then, rare earths, REMX, although this is still just kind of channeling higher, mostly on the back of the lithium strength as of late. It's just not moving as well as I would have hoped. So, what do we make of that? I mean, not a ton, really. Communications were a pretty good sector today. Nokia continues to be an absolute monster. I mean, even in after hours, continuing higher. And then really, again, financials. I don't know what the hell is going on with financials. You're just living underneath the 200. I'd love to see this thing get back above, because Goldman Sachs, it's a beautiful cup and handle, and probably can affect the Dow Jones if the Dow, wants to get going. I mean, it's only 30 names. It's price weighted. I don't give it too much, credence, but it's holding in there. And then, yeah, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. I mean, these charts look great. They look like they're trying to go higher. And we'll see if, of course, that can kind of, maybe lift some of the other down names. I really don't even think it matters, because I'm not going to trade them anyway. But look, semiconductors continue to be a monster. SanDisk didn't really do much today, and that was totally fine. Micron just a touch better. Intel didn't really do much today, but some of these names are so stretched that if they went sideways for a couple of weeks like MRVL, then there'd be nothing wrong with that, where it just, makes a big move and then goes sideways for, 2-3 weeks. I think that is completely normal. That's completely healthy. And I would love to see that, out of a SanDisk before, it finally going for a nice little blow off move. Markets are obviously a little bit stretched to the upside. I don't know that, I get too much comfort buying tons of stocks, 9.5 times its ATR from the 50-day on the NASDAQ. But, I put on some Cipher today, and that worked. I added to ARM today. That worked. I tried to buy some HUT, cut it basically at flat, and then I shorted some Palantir. And if you're focused on the weakness, names that have been showing relative strength, that they're trying to go lower. And if you're focused on, the names that have been showing relative strength, they just continue to go higher. So I'm not going to be over here trying to, call the tippity top in the market when the reality is, it's just way too powerful. Is there an idea there for maybe hedging some of your longs? I know I had an SQQQ position open 2 days ago, and yesterday it was looking pretty damn good, and my longs are kind of getting hit. Then all of a sudden, it fades off while my longs start to bounce, and then this thing stops me out for a 30-cent loss. And my longs are, bouncing right back. And that's kind of the entire idea beside, with having a hedge to begin with. So, yeah, I mean, what are we going to say? I mean, it's just an unbelievable market. Am I sitting here saying chase stuff? No. But if you're going to get, yourself a pretty decent little entry, against the 20-day or just over a prior day high as a higher low off of the 20-day, I think that is perfectly fine. Names that are gapping up on earnings continue to work, whether it's Rocket Lab or names that have been in an uptrend like an AAOI or GLW or CIEN or COHR, just continue going higher. So, yeah, I don't think that there is any reason at all to argue with what we're seeing with price action. Continue to let your leaders work. It's nice to see that these neo clouds on the back of NBIS, which is another one that I own, gaps up on earnings. That's great. I think this name could go higher. And then I think, names that have digested for a few days, something after earnings like Dokken looks like it might want to go higher. Obviously, after a few days of consolidation, AEHR looks like it's trying to go higher, and everything in the market except, select software names are not, right? You look at ServiceNow, I wouldn't go looking for the bottom. You look at Team, I wouldn't really go looking for the lows on this thing. You look at Toast, as much as I like the business itself, I wouldn't go looking for those lows. And yeah, that's just kind of my opinion here. I mean, there's just so much working at the moment. You should have some longs on from damn near a month ago. Anyway, so that's kind of it for today. Hopefully you guys have been trading well. And in case Mr. Jason Shapiro happens to be seeing this, it was an absolute pleasure speaking with you, sir. He did join us on Discord today to chat for about an hour. It was awesome. We learned a little bit more about COT data and some of his process and how he views the market. Unfortunately, a little bit R-rated, so I won't be posting that on social media. But I did have an absolute pleasure speaking with him today. He was a joy to speak with, a wealth of knowledge, and hopefully we'll get to do that again sometime. But yeah, markets are unbelievable. Avoid the laggards, right? Like I said, I wouldn't go looking for the lows in Shopify. Who gives a shit, right? Who gives a shit what's going on in Shopify? I would not be looking at those lows. Instead, focus on the names that are already up and to the right-hand side. They continue to go up and up and up and up and up. And that's just what, you need to be focused on. Relative strength in a really strong market. Don't be focused on the laggards. And I had a student in the room today, and hopefully you watch this. When you see PANW going up, and when you see CrowdStrike going up, the last thing you want to do is go looking for the lows on Zscaler. Because if this can hardly get moving, you're basically asking for more from CrowdStrike and PANW, when what happens if those names pull back? What happens to a Zscaler? Right? It's already acting bad in a strong group that you would just rather wait for the leaders to consolidate and then go after those before ever wanting to try to own an absolute epic piece of shit in terms of price action. So I'm not saying the idea is terrible, but I'm just saying it's below the 200. It's in a downtrend when its friends are at all-time highs. Wait for the friends to consolidate and then go after the strongest names in the group. Do not go after the weakest names in the group. That's not to say it can't work. That's not to say you can't get a good trade out of it. But if you want to swing trade, you want to be in the strongest names in an individual group. That wouldn't be Zscaler. So hopefully that kind of concept resonates with you. And yeah, I mean, just awesome action everywhere you kind of look in the market. In particular in the semi space, the memories, the optics, the names that have been kind of leading. Gold looks pretty interesting. Silver looks pretty interesting. Copper's doing pretty damn well. And yeah, we'll see if you know, more themes want to start participating. So hopefully you guys all traded well today, and I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow. Cheers.